Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a first look at the brand new Community Day Florges in the Ultra League. These battles were submitted to the channel, as they are every Community Day, by the GOAT Smudgy B, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now the new move that Florges gets is called Chilling Water. This is a water type clone of the move Icy Wind, and means that Florges at long last has a move that can hit for at least neutral damage into steel types and super effective into fires that previously completely walled its moveset. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's check out Chilling Water Florges in the Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, picking up an amazing lead, Florges into Kyurem. Kyurem has so many dominant wins in this Ultra League meta, but unfortunately it's not a big fan of Florges. Opponent Glaciate debuff, safe switches into Corviknight, and there's a great response available with Belly Bolt. Corviknight, no messing around, going straight for the payback. Payback will inflict serious damage. Belly Bolt not going to go for the Parabolic Charge, reaching for the Zap Cannon. Parabolic will not be enough to pick up the knockout. Will the opponent respect it? They do not, and down goes Corviknight. Back in comes Kyurem. Kyurem does not want to take any additional damage, so instead of potentially trying to farm down and tank a move, they're going to fire off the Glaciate. Back in comes Florges. Florges not going to bait, just going straight for the Moonblast. Moonblast connects, picking up the KO. In the back, oh no, it's Belly Bolt. Smudgy, instead of just sending in the Zygarde, is going to go for the Chilling Water first, getting the debuff, and he doesn't even have to show the Zygarde, as the opponent will immediately concede the match. Hopping into the next match, leading Florges into Corviknight. Now this may seem like a worst case scenario, but what if I told you that Florges, thanks to Chilling Water, now beats Corviknight? Corviknight is typically going to be running Payback and Air Cutter, and that means that it's forced to throw Air Cutter in this matchup. Air Cutter, not a particularly powerful attack. The opponent did overfarm as well instead of throwing the Air Cutter immediately, so now they're -2, and in the Zero Shield, this matchup takes a very long time to play out because Florges is spamming out these debuffs. Opponent tries for a payback, trying to deal any kind of damage, but unfortunately, Corviknight is just miserable against Florges. Florges just continues the 10-turn debuff spam, making itself stronger and stronger and stronger. Air Cutter has never looked so pathetic. In the zeros, I believe that Florges does go for a triple Chilling Water into a Moonblast, or if they have a slightly suboptimal Corviknight, then you can go for a 4th Chilling Water and pick up the knockout, and it looks like that is the case. In comes Belly Bolt, and this Belly Bolt is about to get absolutely crushed by Zygarde. Belly Bolt gets debuffed by the Chilling Water, unfortunately can't make it the Chilling Water number 2. In comes Zygarde, in the back is Regidrago, and I honestly really like the decision to bring in Belly Bolt. Zygarde is the win con. The opponent will have no ability to damage Zygarde with their Belly Bolt, so you need to use your own Belly Bolt just to do whatever you can to try and get damage onto the opponent. And I believe I actually just saw a Breaking Swipe being thrown by the Regidrago, so they're opting for the more conventional moveset from last season instead of Dragon Energy Hyper Beam. Parabolic Charge, never going to do a ton of damage, but at this point, it's just any chip damage will be helpful in helping Zygarde eventually farm down. There's going to be another Breaking Swipe. Opponent switches into Belly Bolt, trying to snipe, but unfortunately, they're just aligned into the Zygarde, and this is just the most depressing matchup if you're a Belly Bolt. Even a defense boost is not going to save Belly Bolt from this Earthquake. It looks like the opponent did stop tapping for a bit, so I think they have resigned themselves to their fate. Earthquake will land, picking up the knockout. Back in comes Regidrago. Regidrago still trying to play this out, but again, there's just no way forward. They go for the Breaking Swipe, getting that debuff. That means the Dragon Tail is not going to do a lot. This is enough for the Dragon Energy, of course, because Dragon Energy is cheaper than Breaking Swipe, but they're going to keep spamming up Breaking Swipes, and they will eventually lose that game. We see a very neutral lead in the next match. Florges into Shadow Dusknoir. Astonishes will absolutely add up. Dusknoir gonna overfarm to try and throw in good timing, and that allows Florges to potentially try and grab a shield with a Chilling Water bait. But the opponent does not fall for it. Opponent gonna farm up massively. They should have just thrown on 6 because now Florges gets to apply a 2nd Chilling Water debuff. Quick switch into Zygarde. The opponent ends up throwing double debuffed energy, which is honestly best case scenario for Smudgy. Double debuff Shadow Punch doing absolutely nothing, and out comes Gastrodon. No messing around here from Zygarde, just going straight for the Earthquake, and that lands. That's very impactful damage. Considering Belly Bolt is the closer, Gastrodon has to get off the field as soon as possible. No one move is going to knock out. Zygarde will no-shield opponent still on the old moveset of Earth Power, but again, just not enough damage to pick up the KO. Earthquake is going to be shielded. It looks like Gastrodon will try for a farm down, but Zygarde is just too bulky. Zygarde gets to a Crunch. Crunch, not a particularly powerful attack, but enough to deliver the knockout. Back in comes Dusknoir. Dusknoir very, very low, but does still have quite a bit of energy. In comes Belly Bolt. Sucker Punch goes through, hoping that it is enough to pick up the knockout. Shadow Punch lands. It is. In the back is Credilli, and this Credilli is about to get so debuffed. Credilli's used to being the one that is debuffing with these constant Rock Tombs, but unfortunately, now they're going to get debuffed. Their attack lowered and lowered and lowered until they just can't do any damage. This is just devastating stuff from Florges. Chilling Water is an unbelievably good move. The Fairy Wind's adding up a little bit as well. They're now a -2 attack, and that's going to be -3 attack very shortly, as Florges will get to go for another Chilling Water, and then I imagine to switch in Belly Bolt. Running two of the bulkiest things in the back, and then a Pokemon that can spam out debuffs every 10 turns. This team is evil. Oh my goodness. That Rock Tomb. Genuinely pathetic damage. Belly Bolt gets to boost up its defense now with the Parabolic Charge. I'm amazed the opponent did not top left. I would have top lefted. I would not have stayed around to deal with that nonsense. Oh my goodness. This team looks diabolical. Moving to the next game, it's going to be Florges into Thunderfang Steelix. Florges applying an instant debuff with Chilling Water. Steelix built up to a Heavy Slam. Do they actually have it? Florges says yes, but they don't. They Psychic Fangs and then save switch into Togekiss. Togekiss swiftly answered by the Belly Bolt. Sucker Punch obviously going to be resisted, but Belly Bolt will be able to ramp up its defense with these Parabolic Charges. Parabolic Charge number 1 launched at the Togekiss. Togekiss opting to no shield, recognizing that if you've played out this matchup a few times, you know that the Belly Bolt has a bit of a tough time trying to Sucker Punch down. So Belly Bolt will be forced to throw another Parabolic, and Belly Bolt actually loses charge stack priority. This Aura Sphere does not KO because Belly Bolt had buffed up its defense, but Togekiss puts up a very good fight against a Sucker Punch Belly Bolt. Back in comes Steelix. Steelix able to get a small energy head start, but now in comes Zygarde. Opponent throws on not the greatest timing ever. It is going to be another Psychic Fangs. So the Zygarde is debuffed. Zygarde is looking to try and get to Earthquake and does get there. Is the opponent going to respect it? Earthquake would be instant KO. They do respect it. So Steelix at the very least stays on the field for a couple more turns. Steelix is actually on Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe getting those guaranteed attack drops, but Breaking Swipe is such a bad move in terms of damage per energy that Zygarde honestly doesn't really mind. Earthquake lands. Earthquake does not pick up the knockout courtesy of that Breaking Swipe debuff. Opponent makes one final Breaking Swipe, and in the back is going to be Skeleturge. This used to be a matchup. If you remember in the Master League Premier Cup, Florges on a Skeleturge was game over, but not anymore. Chilling Water, giving Florges so much added flexibility into its worst matchups. Chilling Water number 2 is going to land, and this Skeleturge already at -2. No one move is going to KO. I love the no shield Torch Song. That's just not going to cut it. And a third Chilling Water is reached. This spamminess from Fairy Wind and then pairing that up with a guaranteed debuff is just an unreal combination. Shadow Ball, it's just simply not going to KO. Zygarde exiting with the bad manners Earthquake to take the win. Say it ain't so. Smudgy winning with style. What a game. Hopping into the next match, Florges. Oh no, I'm so sorry, trainer. Florges into Como-O. Como-O going to be immediately switching out. I thought they were save switching into a Belly Bolt, but no, they save switch into Ampharos. Ampharos taking some pretty significant damage here. Oh, they're on Dragon Pulse. So this is actually a Legacy Ampharos. Parabolic Charge probably will not knock out, so we will see the Zap Cannon deployed at the Ampharos. Ampharos puts up a shield, but Zap Cannon does get the debuff. The opponent may be able to make a play for alignment. They are going to go for a Thunder Punch, which is their cheaper move, and now they're going for Thunder Punch number 2. Can Belly Bolt try and farm down? Belly Bolt would love to try and keep switch advantage. Belly Bolt deciding against it. Instead, just going to go for the Parabolic. Parabolic will pick up the KO. Como-O will get farm. But unfortunately for the Como-O, the energy just goes nowhere into Florges, as Florges is a complete wall. Florges is going to be single resisting upper hand and double resisting clanging scales. The opponent actually does throw a move though. It is going to be the upper hand. That's not going to do much. In the back is Golisopod. And it's going to be Golisopod versus Zygarde in this endgame. Golisopod will spam out these Aqua Jets, doing what it can. Zygarde just going to fish for these crunch debuffs. Only a 20% chance to debuff. This is a matchup that used to be exceedingly poor for Golisopod, but it appears that with the rework to Dragon Tail, with it doing less damage, Golisopod can actually hold its own if the Zygarde isn't running Outrage. So Zygarde will go for another crunch, but I think the opponent can actually win this game. Opponent over-farming so much energy, they get a catch onto the Como-O. And now for the opponents, they desperately need Como-O to get Florges into Aqua Jet range. If they can, this game is going to be a win for the opponent against all odds. Upper hand is going to land. Upper hand gets the debuff. Como-O gets another upper hand. And they're going to win this game, as I believe Golisopod wins charge type priority over Florges. And it does. There it is. Florges clicking the Moonblast, but does not get to use the move. Aqua Jet picks up the knockout. In comes Zygarde, but it's just too little, too late. Zygarde, not enough energy, not enough health. Very well played by the opponent. Earthquake has been clutch on Zygarde in a few matches, but in that endgame, Outrage was definitely needed. Tricky lead in the next match. Florges into Shadow Swampert. Oh no. Tell me that's not the Sludge Catch onto Zygarde. It is the Sludge Catch onto Zygarde. What a play. And the opponent sends out a Dragon Breath Shadow Charizard. Charizard going to be immediately hit with the Crunch. Crunch lands, no shield from the opponent. They undertap their move, letting an entire Dragon Tail sneak for free. And they're on Dragon Claw. A Dragon Claw Charizard. I have not seen Charizard run Dragon Claw since it got substantially more expensive. But at the very least, Florges should be able to get brought in here. I don't think this is enough for a Blast Burn. Are they Air Cutter? They're Air Cutter Dragon Claw. What is this moveset? Oh my goodness. The Air Cutter Dragon Claw Charizard. Wow. Okay, I have officially seen it all. In comes Swampert. This is a potential Trailblaze. Does the opponent respect it? And they do. Will we see another catch? And we do see another catch. Oh my goodness. Very well played by Smudgy. This is not a great matchup for Bellibolt, but anytime you can waste Swampert's energy, especially when Swampert is so strong into the team, I think that is a pretty big plus. Bellibolt, no shield in the Hydro Cannon. Bellibolt will fire off the Parabolic Charge right before they're able to make it to Hydro Cannon number 2. Parabolic lands. Opponent is going to switch. In the back, they have Dragonite. Dragonite going to be chipped down as Parabolic will do substantial damage. In comes Florges. Florges not going to be shielding anything because the Swampert has energy. That's going to be Thunder Punch from the Dragonite. Can Florges potentially get a farm down? And it does get the farm down, and that's going to be a game over. As Swampert needs 2 moves, it does not have 2 moves, and Florges has the back-to-back Chilling Waters. Opponent realizes it, so they're not going to throw their loaded move because they know they would need a second move, and they just simply cannot get there. We move to the next game. Florges into Bellibolt. Are they Sucker Punch or are they Thunder Shock? Well, they're pivoting out, so I guess we'll find out later. They pivot out into Corviknight. Out comes Bellibolt. Bellibolt always going to be no shielding. Last time, we saw Smudgy just full send this Zap Cannon, trusting the opponent would try and call the Parabolic since Parabolic simply does not do enough to KO. He's going for it once again, but this time the opponent puts up the shield. So now switch advantage is potentially in question. The Zap Cannon did get a debuff, and they bait with the Air Cutter. They pivot out into the Bellibolt. Oh no. Just to have it get a line out of this Zygarde. You can see the opponent's idea is Bellibolt up energy is going to do pretty nicely into the Florges, even if it is on Sucker Punch. But unfortunately, there was a much harder answer to Bellibolt at the back. Zygarde hitting the field, and this Bellibolt is stuck throwing triple resistant moves. Bellibolt's going for Parabolic after Parabolic. Zygarde getting so much energy. There's the switch back into the Corviknight. Zygarde just going to look to get a little bit of chip damage onto the Corviknight. Crunch is going to land. In comes Bellibolt. Bellibolt gets the Parabolic, and this will easily knock out thanks to that Crunch chip. Opponent finally lets that Corviknight get KO'd. In the back, they have Togekiss. Togekiss is forced to throw an Aura Sphere because otherwise Bellibolt was just going to get to a Parabolic. Aura Sphere will pick up the knockout. Florges hasn't really seen the field all game, but it's time. Florges just going immediately for the Chilling Water, saying, you know what? Let's lower the attack stat on this Togekiss. There is a combo play from the opponent. They send in Bellibolt. Bellibolt goes for the Parabolic. Florges with the no shield. Florges looking for the farm down. Gets the farm down. And now this poor Togekiss is going to be permanently debuffed for the remainder of the match. There's no switches available to the opponent. They have no ability to deal any additional damage now. They're stuck at -1. They go for the Aura Sphere bait. That is going to get the shield, but now Florges just gets to put them at -2 thanks to this Chilling Water. This Pokemon is just, oh my goodness. I was a little bit worried because Fairy Wind doesn't do a lot of damage. Dazzling Gleam, speaking of damage, does pick up the KO even at -2, but Zygarde had a stored Crunch. Crunch lands, and one additional Dragon Tail means game over. So, my thought before I got interrupted, since I'm recording this at about 5 a.m. my time. Smudgy, obviously from New Zealand, so his calm day is way before mine. So I am up in the very early hours of the morning getting this footage recorded. But my final thought, or not even final thought, but the thought that I had. While it was pretty much understood that Chilling Water was going to be a really nice upgrade for Florges, I did have some worries coming up to the calm day, just because Fairy Wind as a fast move doesn't really do much of any damage, and even though you're able to spam out Chilling Water very quickly, in neutral matchups, I was worried that Florges would often feel overwhelmed, and really feel like a bait-dependent Pokemon where it's really reliant on landing Moonblast to win these neutrals. However, at the very least, as far as the Ultra League goes, I really didn't feel like that was a concern in these battles. Chilling Water allowed Florges an ability to really make life uncomfortable for opponents, and obviously there were some times where opponents like the Corviknight overfarmed, so that allowed Florges to set up and get a Chilling Water up first, and made the Zero Shield just a little bit more comfortable. But I do think that this is going to be a Pokemon that we see a lot of. This is a must-play calm day if you play the Ultra League. This is the greatest answer we're ever going to get to Kyurem. Kyurem is very difficult to counter right now with how flexible and strong it is. Chilling Water Florges is one of the most consistent counters because Florges can debuff the Kyurem and make it so Kyurem can't just finesse its way through a fairy type, which it does in most scenarios. Like, I save switched to Kyurem while I was waiting for the footage to render, and my opponent ended up sending out a Clefable, and Kyurem was just able to flip that matchup by correctly shielding Moonblast. Whereas with Florges being able to spam out Chilling Water, you can make it so the Glaze Seeds don't do nearly enough damage, and it actually just becomes a lot more consistent of a fairy type counter swap into that Pokemon. So, I know I've been rambling quite a bit. Again, it's very late at night here. I am going to render this video, put it live, and then go to bed. But Florges good. Chilling Water good. Play this calm day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.